Little Legends Podcast is a Prediction Esports production. Support us by subscribing to the Prediction Esports Podcast channel on your favorite podcast provider. Hey guys, welcome back to Little Legends Podcast, episode number 26. I am your host, Blevins. Joining me as always is Boop. What's up, buddy?
Hey guys, and welcome to episode 26 of the Little Legends Podcast. One of these days, we're gonna get the morning DJ radio out of there.
You'd think so, but I've been doing it for 197 episodes on High Noon Podcast, so I think we're many episodes away from getting the morning DJ out. But we can get the morning DJ out, but we can also get the Wondermelo in, as she is our guest here. That's professional podcasting right there. Taking something completely off topic and bringing it back and then explaining and lauding yourself for doing so. Welcome, Wondermelo, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and talk about TFT.
Yes, we are going to be talking about TFT because that is the game that we know and love. And I promise everyone, we have show notes this week. Last week, Boop and I were in our experimental phase. We were like the Beatles with going and doing the whole like experimental.
You know when you plan a trip with your friends drunk, right? And you're like, let's go to Tijuana. Last episode was our Tijuana.
Yes, it was our Tijuana.
So we know what a 12 is, and so now we're gonna bring it back.
Yes.
We're gonna bring it back. It's gonna be way more structured.
We'll have at least.
It was just a super slow week that week.
Yeah. Well, now we're gonna have 24 more episodes with notes, and then on episode 50 we'll have something even crazier, which is just gonna be absolutely fantastic. But we're going to be talking about TFT, new patch, some news that we got from Mort Dog, which is very exciting. We're going to be talking to Wondermelo specifically about her experiences on the show G2 Making the Squad. Talk a little bit about that for you guys for those of you who watched that. But first, just a little bit of housekeeping that I don't know why I put that accent on it. I will run through very quickly here. Of course, guys, you know we are a Prediction Esports podcast, PREEDICTION podcast. Make sure you're following them and subscribe to them on iTunes. We did get a new review this week on iTunes, which I will read at the end of the show. But if you guys haven't left a review on iTunes already, please do. It does help us out a ton. Speaking of helping us out a ton, you can help us out by going to patreon.com/Little Legends Podcast. All of the support helps as we are planning new stuff. We have our t-shirts right now, which the link will be in the show notes if you want to get the Ready for Battle t-shirts. I said that as if it were a button that I pressed, but it was actually just me doing it. But I think I have the button. Ready for Battle. I do have the button ready.
I literally, I refuse to play lights because of you.
Ready for ready.
I know it's good, but every time I hear it, I go,
ready for battle.
Yeah. Everyone gets a hearty chortle, and I hate you for it.
a hearty Yorgle, which only the pre-show listeners will know what that is. But yes, you can pick up those shirts in the link below. The Design by Humans link is in the description below. But if you guys are wondering why it's so funny that I'm spamming the Ready for Battle and the Jacks and all that, it's because of Game Night, which we have every Friday. You can go to discord.me/Little Legends Podcast to play in it. Wondermelo, you have been a frequent player of Game Night, and I'm sure you will talk about how much you absolutely despise us and wish that we didn't do it anymore. But we'll keep that to the end of the show. But if you want to watch the broadcast, you can watch the past ones. You can watch as we're playing. You can go to twitch.tv/GiantSlayerTV as we are partnered with them for Game Night. Okay, that's enough of me rambling on about that. Let's talk about our guest here, Wondermelo. For those of us out there, our listeners out there who aren't familiar with you, give us a little bit of a background on who you are and what brought you to TFT.
My name is Katie. I am a senior marketing student in my last semester of university, so almost free.
Nice.
Freelancer, by the way. I started in Shadowverse, where I actually did a PAX East stage show. I did casting, I did some hosting, actually did some podcasting back in the day, and it was a really good learning experience. And I always was a huge card game player. I played Card Fight Vanguard. In high school, I played Future Card Buddy Fight. I played a whole lot of different things. Magic the Gathering, I was also very into for a while after I was into Shadowverse, because I was really big into card games.
Mhm.
And I always never wanted to play League because I heard of all these toxic things. And
It's all
I had
true,
a
by the way.
pride that I never downloaded the client. But then I heard about TFT and the auto battler genre. And I thought, I like strategy games. I like card games. I might as well try this. And honestly, I like it more than card games. And I was so surprised. It made me even try regular League of Legends, which is actually all right. It's decent. And I'm like, my mind is blown to this new experience in this new community. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I took let's see, I think I played in 2010 was when I was playing League of Legends before. So I took a almost 10-year hiatus from League of Legends and now have actually come back, and I'm mostly playing AERF.
Wow.
And Boop can attest to just how awful I am at the game.
Yeah. Do you want me to? Do you want me to list details on your
Hey.
experience?
He's out of position constantly. He doesn't know anything about itemization.
All he's doing is playing with the soundboard. He's not even looking at the screen. How are you
True,
going to get
though.
any kills if you're not looking at the screen when you're just
True.
using your ears to listen to your soundboard? Man, I am grumpy today. Let me talk about something I hate. Because
Well,
you're going to get a fire response.
Me playing League is something that you hate so much.
Ooh,
Although I was really
ordering.
good with Maokai. I was pretty well. I was good in
Yeah.
that specific game with
Yeah.
Maokai.
Well, to kind of like bring it back to TFT, I am very, very curious to see what the consistent player base is of League of Legends now versus what it was like a year ago.
Mhm.
Because I wonder how many people TFT did bring in to League of Legends. Because honestly, that's probably what their main focus was, right? Let's
Yeah.
bring all these people back, get them into League of Legends again, right? Because for me, I've been playing League on and off ever since I found out about it like 8 or 9 years ago when Darius came out.
Nice.
And I've always considered it like the worst X in the world, right? You like break up from time to time, but then you think, oh wait, maybe things have changed.
Yeah.
Maybe they're better. Maybe you know what I mean? And then
Mhm.
every so often, like you'd go back and you're like, nah, or you'd like do it for like a year, and the whole time you're like, I shouldn't be here, right? But all of a sudden, I don't know what it was, but about like 2 or 3 years ago, like they really started hitting their stride. And then when TFT came out, they were like peak Riot Games at that point, the 10-year anniversary,
Yes.
and all this other stuff. It's just really cool to see all these people coming back. My friends list, seeing names that I haven't seen in years,
Yeah.
because of TFT. That's really cool.
Well, it's like you both kind of left and went your separate ways for a while. They had a kid,
Yep.
and now you're both different people. You've
Yeah, and
matured
now we're just
differently.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're adults and we can be friends and co-parent together. Which the child is my wallet.
Oh, okay.
Good analogy.
Okay, I was wondering where that was going, and I got it. I like it. That's great for an introduction there, Wondermelo and Boop. Maybe we have some things to talk about, man. Like if we need to decompress, we need to talk about something. It's okay. We can do it off stream. It's all right. We'll get to the core of it.
Oh,
Did someone hurt you, Boop?
I'm so sorry.
What a loaded answer.
Yes. We'll
Within the last, I'm just kidding.
that'll be
and
bonus
welcome
content on the.
Happy bonus content
If
where
you-
Boop works through his problems.
Yes, with Professor Blev, that would be it. That would probably be a legal nightmare. But let's try. Man, we are going off the rails, and that's fine. But we're gonna get back on the rails a little bit and talk about our weeks in TFT. Wondermelo, we'll start with you. How was your week? How's your grind been going?
So far, I got from Platinum 3 back to Platinum 1, where I
Nice.
rightfully reign. and hopefully I'll get to diamonds by Thursday stream. That's the plan. I was at Plat 1 before, and then I demoted, so I hope this next patch will be very nice to me. I've been finding mostly actually a lot of mages working. Whenever I try berserkers, I lose. So I don't go berserkers anymore, even when I get an early volley bear.
Yeah, berserkers were one of my mainstays and just haven't really been working out as much for me. Boop, anything any fun or exciting or interesting games for you this week?
Yeah, thanks for asking.
But you said that as a joke, but I actually did ask. I'm getting metagamed here.
I like adding things in where it's like if you listen to most of the episodes, you start realizing things that like like the thanks for asking thing. Anyway, those are the types of things that really tickle my fancy.
Anyways, back to the match.
Why is my brain working the way it currently is? Okay, so my week in TFT was great, actually. I got promoted 4 divisions. We're working our way back up. Yeah, we're working our way back up to the top of Plat, and
Nice.
it's been finally good to win again, right?
Yeah.
I finally was like, I'm just going to egg roll.
Really? You've been egg rolling?
Yeah,
It works.
yeah, I'm egg rolling, and it's still working.
Wow.
It's just like not as contested, so I've been able to
True.
3-star a lot of them really quickly. And then I developed such a lead. It does I don't really care if I win or not. I'm just
Right.
kind of trying to climb,
Yeah.
and it's been consistent. But I've been playing a lot of stuff. I don't ever really play Zerkers, but been playing a lot of Rangers. Rangers have been fun. Messing around with Ezreal, which is always fun to do in regular league and TFT. So yeah, feeling pretty good about it so far. Probably my most successful week of set 2 so far. And honestly, like one of the first weeks I've sat down and played every day.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's what I do too, so why am I surprised?
I have been getting sucked into the Legends of Runeterra world. So I haven't played as much TFT. I've been dividing my time, but I have climbed back up also to Plat 1, where I will probably remain for most of the set.
So are we all Plat 1?
I'm not right now. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back there. I still got
a Plat lobby.
Yes, we are the Plat chat, as they say.
I'll be diamonds in a little bit. Just you wait.
Go for it.
Okay, my problem is that, so this happened to me last set in set 1 where I got diamond and then I was playing, and then at the end of the set it was right when they showed set 2 and it was on PBE and we could actually play on PBE, it was well, I can play ranked and play set 1, or I can play the new set. So I always want to play the new set, but then I'm you know what, I'm gonna try to push. You know what, I'm diamond 4, or actually I think I might have even gotten a diamond 3. I think I peaked at diamond 3. I don't remember. Maybe not. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna make a big push here. Even though I've been playing a week and a half of set 2 on PvE, I understand and know set 1 so much that I'm gonna push to Masters or Grandmasters. And I promptly lost. Whoa! I just threw something. I promptly lost 3 game, 8, literally 8th place, 3 in a row. Got put back to Plat 1, and then I'm well, crap. Now I have to play to get back into Diamond, and I never did. I ended the season at Diamond, or at Plat 3 or something, and I'm now, and the reason I bring this up is because I think it was Jimmy the Shovel in Discord, or maybe it was someone else, I don't remember, mentioned this line. I think jokingly, though it may have had a kernel of truth, that I'm gonna hit diamond and then I'm not playing ranked the rest of the set, and it's
oh yeah, I think that was him.
I kind of am in the same boat where if I hit diamond, I might just not play I might not play ranked the rest of the set. So again, it's kind of that you don't want to feel bad for playing, and I maybe I'm spoiled because Legends of Runeterra has the rank floor. So if you get to diamond, you can never get below diamond. You'll only go down to diamond 4 0 LP ever. You can lose forever there, and you'll always be diamond 4 0 LP. Whereas if you keep losing in TFT, you will go back down to bronze.
Yeah, I feel I need to get challenger, which I know is a very, very high goal, but on my Making the Squad intro video, I said that I was aiming for Challenger this season, and I feel like I need to commit to it. And I'm a little far away from it, but hey, this season 2, it's still going on. There's still time. There's still time. We got it. We can do this, right?
Hey, there is still time to do that.
That's a lot of games.
It's a lot of games.
A lot of games.
It is a lot.
Grandmaster.
Yeah, it's a lot of games. But hey, if you've got the
High
will,
goals.
if you got the will and the skill, you can do it.
Ooh, I got that will, but that skill. I think about that one.
Well, maybe after playing all those games, you might be able to get that skill going.
Very true.
True. But you did mention Wondermelo G2 Making the Squad, which was the TFT themed, I guess,
Yes.
reality television show made obviously by G2, hence the name. Tell us a little bit about that. I remember I talked about it on the show when they like put out the applications and they're like, we're looking to do this. I never knew about this. Is season 2. I never knew about season 1. I didn't know anything about it. Seeing this, what made you sort of apply to do this? What were you thinking when you saw that initial sort of Twitter advertisement for it?
I saw it and I was going through a part of my life where I wanted to be more spontaneous and stop overthinking things. So I was like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity. I recently became a fan of G2 because I love their social media accounts and I followed them with Worlds before that. So I was just getting so excited because it felt like the stars were aligning. This one game that I just got into in a community I love, in a team I love, are combining together and giving me an opportunity. So I felt like it was fate seeing that. And so I just put a lot of effort into my application video. I did some editing, adding clips in because I am a try-hard perfectionist through and through.
I mean, it paid off.
Working on that. Exactly. So just knowing I was selected and just being able to be a part of that has been a life-changing experience from the beginning, from the first time Karina said that I was selected in our video interview to where I am now today and all the people and experiences that I've gotten from it.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And I will say that the perfectionism certainly paid off because I also sent an application and I did the exact opposite of that. I did.
Oh, no.
I put forth quite possibly the lowest effort video of all time at quite possibly the latest possible time that they would.
It's not even of you.
Oh, no.
It's you just sent in a random video from the real world auditions.
I just sent in a random clip from the Trailer Park Boys and thought that they would.
It's on VHS. You sent in a VHS.
I sent in a VHS to G2.
Nice.
I guess it never got there. But
or else you would have been chosen,
right,
obviously.
Obviously. But what was it like? Because I mean, obviously this was big because I know you are based in the U.S. And the competition was in Germany, right?
Yes.
Had you ever been to like Europe or Germany before?
I haven't been out of the country. I got a passport for my 18th birthday and haven't had any use for it. So that's more of the going on, it was meant to be type deal where they said, do you have access to a passport? Just like, yes, I do. I've never used it, but yeah, so it was my first time going out of the country, meeting all these amazing people from around the world. And I just love Berlin so much. I would definitely want to live there or somewhere because everything about it is amazing. And they were so generous and kind to us, the way they treated us, and getting to meet the G2 team and the other contestants, I felt like I made a new family.
Yeah, it was definitely a really interesting and it was fun to watch, even though obviously it was bittersweet for me because I wasn't on the. No, I'm kidding. It was a great show to watch. What was? I want to know like how because like it's one thing to see the final product, right, and to see the edited shows together. How intense were these competitions? Like, what was the pressure like for you as a contestant on the show?
Honestly, it was just pretty fun. I thought I was gonna be super competitive and on top of things, but everything felt very chill. That, and I thought I was doing better than I actually was. That's why I got eliminated first. But I'm over that. That's fine because it was the experience that made it, and I just felt like I couldn't be cutthroat with any of these people. Not that like I wanted to be, because
Right.
they're just so nice. All these people are so nice around me, and it was scary how well we got along. So other than the eliminations, it was really nice, and people were very supportive. And I'm just really glad to be there in that nice environment, because of course with a lot of reality shows it's very like cutthroat and everything. They just send you off and you're done. But it was very welcoming, and even after I was eliminated, I was able to actually do some work with the G2 social media team while everyone was shooting, and I was just as happy since I'm also into like social media and memes and content creation.
That's awesome. Boop, how would we fare if we were on a reality show?
Honestly, I think I'd kill it. To be completely honest with you.
GT making squad 3, let's go.
No, and the reason why I say that is because I have probably we talked to Frodown about this.
We did. We talked extensively about The Bachelor before we even started recording.
Like in terms of like Big Brother and Survivor, I've probably watched about like 20 to 25 seasons of both of those shows. Like I loved those two shows, and I've always thought about how I would fare on reality competition. So one or two things would happen. I have a really hard time not being in the know, so I'd either just get like super anxious, freak out, get so annoying and get eliminated first, right? I'd try to make like too many plans and too many deals, and then I'd forget. Or I think I'd actually make it pretty far. But I have like this crazy, some people call it a superpower, to stumble right at the very end. And so and so I'd probably land at like the third place spot. Is always how I feel like I've
always
said
the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Well, because I always like I'll even in board games or even D&D, I'll plan something and it'll be perfect, and then right when I need to finish, right, I screw it up somehow. And that's just, I have too much history of doing that to make me feel like it won't happen again.
You egg roll too early and then end up with the top 4 survivor bid, but never a final.
Exactly. I made it to the final, but I didn't win. That's how you, I think, could do very well. I think, Blev.
You think I could do? Why do you say that?
Because I think you remind me of a Survivor guy named Rupert.
Yes, that was when I watched. That was season 3 or 2, right?
Rupert was the best.
He was,
and so
Rupert was way too nice, though. I'm not that nice.
You are that nice. That's the problem. I'm the one that said "F you" to you.
That is true. And then I just started crying, and then you cried, and we saluted each other, and then didn't see each other. Yeah.
Yep, and did not speak again for
that is an actual true story. I know we bring this up like every 5 episodes, but I need to reiterate that this is true and not at all fabricated.
I dig it.
So let's talk a little bit more about your experience on MTS. Let's sorry, I had a little bit of indigestion there. TMI. So when you're going through this process, you're kind of like taken away from reality. What was kind of like your access to the outside world while doing something like this? Because certain reality shows have different rules on who you can contact and who you can't contact. You're not supposed to tell.
Oh, it was other than the results. Of course, we weren't allowed to tell other people the results before the episodes came out, but I was, for example, allowed to call my friends back home or message them on Discord or Twitter, but we were basically busy the entire time, so there wasn't really a lot of time even for downtime, which is exactly what I liked. But they were very like giving with like allowing us to communicate with people if we want, just not spoiling the show, of course. and we even just made friends with each other, and became our own support system with our inner selves within the show, within beyond the show, and we still use the same group text every single day basically now between myself and the contestants.
Yeah, reality shows are just like adult summer camp, is what I
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
So you're saying that reality shows are super lame?
I think it depends. G2's too nice. I feel like there's some other organizations for reality shows that are just like, okay, you're going on a plane now.
Well, when we start our show, Mort of Love, where contestants compete for a rose from Mort Dog every week by playing matches of TFT.
Just stupid.
Sign me up. Let's
Can you
go.
believe our brains have those thoughts? Like they're capable of putting those words in that order.
Not only
and then
capable,
letting
but
it come out of your mouth.
Not only capable, but massively encouraged to have these
Yeah,
thoughts.
I know. What's wrong with us?
We have problems.
Speaking of problems, unfortunately for you, you didn't come home the victor. What do you think was kind of the difference makers between the people who didn't fare as well earlier on in the competition versus the ones who did well later?
Well, I actually was in the beginning really rooting for Tasha as the dark horse. And when I was eliminated, I whispered in here, just I want you to win, win for me. Even though at the beginning, maybe it didn't seem like she was the strongest competitor, but I feel like she was able to grow from all those experiences and challenges to really come up to a performance where I wasn't sure exactly who should win when I was watching that finale. But when I saw those final performances, I was absolutely blown away and in chills. And I feel like I probably didn't fare as well because I was a little too try hard. That I feel like that part of my personality was basically toned down a notch from that experience, and I was able to grow so much as a person on so many multiple ways, both from the G2 team being so supportive and amazing, and Karina and the other contestants really becoming my family right there. And I feel like I grew to more over those 2 weeks than in the last year, even though I've gotten so much of a journey with my own personal self-confidence and mental health. But that experience, I felt like I'm a new person. This is my new reality and what I want to be doing for the rest of my life, because I feel like I won. I may not have the 10K, but my goal going in is I want to work in esports for my entire life. This is what I want to do. I want to get my experiences. I want to meet new people. And I took each and every advantage of what that was, even after I was eliminated. You know, get your good cry out, cry yourself to sleep. I definitely, I'm not saying oh, I'm great, because that's not how it was. But afterwards, it's just okay, you wipe up your tears, you get up, you make the best of the situation. And I'm just so proud of myself for being able to do that. And I don't feel like if I didn't go through that process of being eliminated when I was so on my high horse, that I wouldn't have been able to do that and apply that to what I do now with my content, with my schoolwork, with my entire life. So I feel like really being put down a notch was me winning in the end. And I'm really, really happy for Tasha for winning, and for Andrea and Jack and Pentamagic for getting to the finals. It was so amazing to watch, and they all deserved it, and I was just so happy. I feel like we all deserve to win in some ways, but of course, it's a reality show. Right. There got to be eliminations, and that's completely fair and fine, and I understand that. So in the end, I am completely happy with the results because in my heart, I won.
Well, that's great to hear. So I got a twofer for you coming up. One kind of serious question, one a little bit more on the fun side. So here's the fun question. I didn't feel like we talked about it for long enough. Who do you think would last longer in a reality show competition, Lev or me? And then the last one, to kind of close up this first half, what is next for you? How are you going to take this experience? You already kind of touched on it, but what are the next steps for you in terms of making your dream a reality?
I feel like Boop, simply because for some reason.
All right, guys, that's the end of the show. No need to go any further than that. They've been muted. They don't know that, but we'll see you guys now. Okay, I'm kidding.
Reality shows more than Blevins and can get really into the inner workings of someone's mind because you have so much study under that personally.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I would do better to appreciate that. And
you know what? I'm glad because I want people to think that that's true, so that I can manipulate them
Dark horse,
even more. Hey, all I'm saying is that tax evasion aside, Richard Hatch, the OG winner of Survivor, same birth city as me. Newport, Rhode Island.
Okay. Also, that version of Survivor didn't really have alliances or any type of strategy.
Hold on.
Yeah. So that
do you
first
remember
season of
that
Survivor
season?
Was I do because
Richard
it was
Hatch
Richard, Sue,
was
and Rudy.
I
remember
heading the whole thing. He
very interesting
came up
thing
with
about
alliances.
that season.
People were too dumb.
They thought the theory was, so when Richard was coming up with alliances, which ended up being in every season of Survivor after that, there was a debate on whether it was like okay, like if that was cheating,
right?
Which is very very interesting. He changed reality television forever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Shout out to the writers' strike for breeding this whole new genre of television.
Yes. As for what's next, I am consistently streaming on Twitch, currently 3 times a week, just because I'm a full-time student at the moment, but I also do Twitter memes on like Twitter and the TFT Reddit. I do Instagram posts, usually about 3 times a week. I do some other content on my Discord, and I'm starting up with YouTube. But something I really want to get into is casting TFT. I actually got to talk to Medic for a little bit about casting when we were in the car to a shoot, and he really inspired me to sort of pick up that torch that I left behind in Shadowverse and really just take that initiative. That's what my problem is sometimes, because I have this huge work ethic. I'm very passionate, but taking the initiative and reaching out and really putting that energy into good use is sometimes what I struggle with. So that's what I'm actually going to do right after this podcast. I'm going to start reaching out to people. I'm going to start making a demo reel, because talking about it is just giving me that inspiration and energy that I want to be doing that. TFT competitive scene, it's so young. And to be able to become a caster in that space as I grow myself as a commentator, a host, a presenter, and as a player, I just think that's the sweet spot right before the competitive season is too oversaturated, because this TFT scene is so new. That's why I want to do as much as I can to be a part of the communities, to create content, even though, yes, I'm a full-time student, but every other second that I'm not doing that, almost done, thankfully, I'm just hitting on that content. And when I graduate, I'll be able to do that even more, ideally full-time and or working with an esports organization professionally is generally the goal. So we're just keep on working. Obviously, everything is up in the sky. You don't know what's going to happen, but my goal is just to keep on looking forward and being assertive about what I want and keep on working hard, because I at least know I'm good at that. One is being very persistent about that.
Well, as 2 boomers who have been in this world longer than I think most people have in terms of working in esports, I don't know one person who achieved anything in esports without doing it themselves. So that is definitely the first spot. And And this is a really great opportunity for Blevin to always say, use us as resources. I've got tons of casting experience.
I have casted at least 2 times.
Yep. And just being on camera for hundreds of hours and putting all that out there, like, in order to keep esports going, we got to keep those kinds of jobs alive and pass those skills on, right? Because being in esports is not just about being on camera or being on a player. There's also production managers and OBS camera operators, podcasters. There's so many different ways to get into this world. Some of the best ways of understanding how is by asking literally everybody. So for everyone at home and for you as well, please feel free to reach out. We're all here to help.
It's true. People ask me all the time, like, "Oh man, how did you get so-and-so on your show?" And I'm like, well, there's this little trick. I'm going to spoil it here. I just DM them on Twitter.
Like big brains.
Or email them or Discord
simpler.
message them. I'm weird and creepy and I do it. And guess what? A lot of people don't respond and a lot of people say, well, actually not that many people say no, but some do. And I don't care. I'm dead into that because I'm dead inside. But esports is alive and well, so I can be dead inside. It's okay. But that is awesome. Super glad we got to hear a little bit more about your experience with G2 making the squad. We're going to come back after this break, talk about a little bit of news, and then get into the 10.3 TFT patch. We will be right back after these messages. Guys, if you are liking the show, please make sure you leave a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to us there. And you can subscribe to us and check us live on Twitch at twitch.tv/theblevins. Of course, the home of all of our content is at discord.me/Little Legends Podcast. If you want another way to support the show, head over to patreon.com/Little Legends Podcast and become a patron today. We've got all sorts of goals and tiers available, and we're open to suggestions as to what the other tiers should be. We'll be putting exclusive content. Videos, and other things on the Patreon, as well as giving you early looks at projects that we're working on. Head over to patreon.com/Little Legends Podcast right now. Welcome back, everyone, to the second half of Little Legends Podcast. Joined here with Boop, as always, and our guest, Wondermelo. We're going to be talking about some news of the week. A couple things here, of course. Giant Slayer TV's Fight Night Rising series happened again. It is, I think right now, as far as I know, the only competitive TFT that's going on right now.
There are some non-stream tournaments.
Yes, there are.
But it's definitely the most publicized for sure.
Yes, there's nothing else going on that you can watch the VOD of or watch live.
That is true.
I'm sure that there are people playing at a high level, which there certainly are, but I don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
There's leagues and stuff going on that you can find, but in terms of being able to watch it, and there's casters and all that good stuff, make sure you're checking out Fight Nights on Thursdays. On Thursdays. Really great match this week. Fluffy HS ended up taking that one down. Definitely check out the VOD there on the Giant Slayer TV YouTube. There's a couple of things here. We got this like maybe a half hour before we went live here tonight. We got a tweet from Mort Dog that has some experimental changes for patch 10.4. So not this patch, but the next patch that they're testing out on PBE. He says coming to PBE as an experiment for 10.4. They're looking to make Glacial a bit more of a playable option without making it more frustrating to play against. If you're on PBE starting tomorrow, which if you're listening to this in podcast world would be now, try it out and let me know what you think. Will likely be tuned quite a bit before launch. The change is to the Glacial buff, and it says basic attacks from Glacials have a 25% chance to stun their target for 1.5 seconds and deal bonus magic damage. So it's not getting an increased chance to stun them. It's not getting increased stun duration. You're getting the set 1 in 4 to stun for 1.5 seconds, which I believe is the minimum amount of time for a stun in the game. And at 2, 4, and 6, you're either getting an additional 50, 125, or 250 bonus magic damage. I know we got this not even an hour ago, but Wondermelo, do you have any thoughts on this change, whether it's the numbers or just the change in general for Glacials?
I'm just excited for Glacials to be more playable again. One of my favorite meta is Poison Glacial, and I loved running it. And now you can't really do it much. So now that people won't complain about it as much, I feel like the changes to it are a lot more fair than it used to, because Glacial has definitely gone back and forth with its stun duration and how the mechanic worked from the beginning of its inception until now. So I'm really pleased to try it out. I haven't played that much PvE at all. I usually play on the live patch, but I think I will have to go and try it out a little bit to like see if I can make my favorite comp work again of Poison Glacial, please.
Boop, any initial thoughts on the Glacials getting the Mage and Berserker treatment?
I hate it.
What? Really?
Yeah, I absolutely hate it. And this is why. Is why. Because I hate Glacials. 100%.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
There are Glacial. I even remember Mort being like, Glacials are such a controversial order because it stops you from playing for.
Is that your
I'm
Mort,
sorry, I know you
Mort
listen.
Impression?
I don't mean to be offensive with that impression.
Was that your Mort impression?
That's my impression for everyone who's smarter than me. That's why you've never heard it, Blev.
I was gonna say. Oh man,
I don't know why I'm like this. I'm sorry. Anyway,
when I say we love that about you, it's the royal we, not me specifically. Go on.
And I just don't like it's just not an interactive type of experience for me. So it's just one of the more frustrating ways. If you're the one playing Glacial, you're like, hey. If you're the one going up against it, it's the complete opposite of that. Yep. And I think it needs to
Waluigi.
Yeah, man. What's wrong with Waluigi?
Waluigi is a Glacial player, confirmed.
Yes.
Waluigi is 100% a Glacial player, and you know it. Anyway, I don't know. It's just like it's not the most fun, and when it doesn't feel super satisfying when I win with it, and I don't necessarily think this late in the game with set 3 coming out, we need to be messing with like this kind of stuff. I don't know, because Glacial was a little bit of a hard one to balance in set 1 too. So it's all about there's this it's probably the thinnest line in TFT of when Glacial is fun versus actively making things unfun.
Right.
And I feel just like with Yordles, it's more on the unfun side of things most of the time. That's a personal problem.
I think I have a couple of thoughts on this one. So I kind of agree with what you said about like why are we making like pretty big changes to something this late into a set. But I also think that that Glacial is sort of it's a test, right? Because it is one of those like it's an anti-interaction synergy. You are doing something and creating something that makes your opponent be able to do less. Getting stunned is unfun for the person that's getting stunned. And honestly, stunning someone isn't really that satisfying in TFT. It's just good. It's not like, oh, this awesome explosion is happening. It's like, oh, well, you just got attacked and stunned. It's kind of, I mean, if you think about it, it's like Swordbreaker or Hot. Well, it's actually not. You still generate mana, I believe, if you get stunned. But if you die while you're stunned, you can't. Regardless, I think that this. So we had pretty much from the beginning of set 2, we've had Glacial be essentially a complete afterthought. It was, yes, you can go 6 Glacial, you can force Glacial, but it was always like you have an Olaf that is the centerpiece, and without the Olaf, or maybe the Ezreal if you're feeling feisty, but mostly the Olaf. And if you're not playing that, the Glacial is irrelevant, or very close to irrelevant. So you're either playing like Glacial 2 automatically in Berserkers, or you're like, oh, I've got my Berserkers. I'm going to add some Glacials to make Olaf better. The other stuff is whatever. So we had a synergy that was basically nothing. It was just kind of there. And now they're taking, and I think the reason that this test this late in the set makes sense is like, is it going to be better to have something that was kind of an afterthought and actually make it something substantial? Now, whether that's inherently about Glacial, I think is not as relevant to this patch or to the grand scheme of TFT. It just happens to be that Glacial was that thing in this set. I mean, even in set 1, Glacial was more prevalent because like Ash and Sejuani and I mean at times Volibear and like the Glacial package was there and was actually played a good amount in different varieties and was relevant. Here it wasn't really that. So I like the fact, that they're trying to, I mean, really spice up Glacial at a time that's like, it doesn't really matter. And you get to like, they're pushing it. Like this is very clearly like you went from 0 to 60 very fast. So you can see, and I mean, even in the tweet, Mort ends the tweet with, will likely be tuned quite a bit before it gets released. So like this is, again, sort of the showing the design philosophy that the philosophy that I like is like, let's just push it to the limit, see where we get. Let's see if that is that good, bad, or other, and then tune it from there. I think it can give a point of data of like, is the set better where everything there's like more vertical comps there in that, like there's a 2-4-6 or something that I can just buy every Glacial and just have that be my comp? Or do you want to have like, oh, well, we have Glacial, but it's just kind of there. It doesn't really do much extra. You're never really going for it because it's just kind of there. And being able to get that point out and maybe flesh that out for set 3 or set 4, I think is useful. So that's my 2 cents on it.
That was about $10
okay,
worth
that was my $10 worth in 2 cent bits. But yeah, I guess, I mean, we'll see. I'm interested to get Mort's thoughts on that and like if what I'm talking about rings true at all or if I'm just an idiot.
We'll see.
Speaking of things that we've talked about before on the show that are ringing true, Mort on his stream over the weekend confirmed that there is a person on the TFT team that is specifically dedicated to TFT esports and TFT competitive. Has been confirmed. We don't know much more besides that.
Yes.
But there's a person on it. There's an initiative going on, and according to Mort, they're in sort of the information gathering phase for that. So, given that knowledge and info and insight from Mort, Wondermelo, what are your initial thoughts on that whole thing?
I want a spectator client ASAP, please. That's my first thought.
Yes. Notably, Mort mentioned, he said it a couple times, but after mobile release, which is now said to be around mid-March, the next thing that's happening is spectator client. But,
okay, I hope. But other than that, because just as a tournament spectator, that's probably one of my first ideas. It makes me really excited because this is the scene I want to be getting into as a caster, as a player, and it's because it is so young and it's backed by this huge property that is Riot Games. I feel like it has the momentum and possibility to launch so many new careers that aren't from other games and to create this whole new phenomena within the auto battler genre that goes out from League. Because the thing with some companies trying to force their esports, cough cough artifact, down people's throats is there needs to be a community already set, which is why I sort of like that they waited a while, because if you just throw money at things, it's not going to be as natural. It's these things like Fight Night that are just getting people ready for this, preparing cast, preparing players for this big venture within the new year. So some people are like, oh, there's no big competitions, there's nothing to look forward to, where it's Riot Games with an S. I'm sure there's going to be tons of things to look forward to. They have a lot of capital. They got a huge property. And it just makes me excited to try to go into this whole new chapter of esports history.
Boop, are you as bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as Wondermelo is about TFT esports?
I mean, what if I was like, no?
No, TFT
not
sucks.
at all. Today would be that day where like literally everything. I could see literally my favorite thing in front of me, and I'd be like, screw you. Why you got to be so nice? Anyway,
Just
how
take,
cool? How
take
much
a
of a
deep
flex?
look into Poppy's eyes, and you'll feel better.
How much of a flex would it be if they were like, here's mobile client as well as spectator mode?
Oh.
That would be so sick, man. All I want to
sick.
do, like, because sometimes I like, even when I'm like waiting for my friends to like just be done with the game, it's fun just to like get in there
Yes,
and watch, right? Like, there've been many a time where I'll just like, I'm about to play a game of League with my friends, and they're like 10 minutes into a game, and there's not enough time for me to play a game. Right, so it's good to it's not even just for the competitive atmosphere, right? It's for the casual stuff too. So that's going to be it. But remember, folks, that's the test. After TFT Mobile comes out, that's when we really, really are going to see exactly where this is going to go. Because so far, it is beating Legends of Runeterra in terms of streaming on Twitch, which is honestly a little surprising to me. And it has been consistently doing that for the last couple days, at least a week or so, post Legends of Runeterra release. So I'd love to kind of explore that a little bit more in one of our opinion pieces, if that holds true for the next week, Blev. But in terms of TFT Esports, we have said it. Everyone has said it. We are excited. We want it to happen, and just like you, we want to help cast those games, bring our experience from other competitive fields, and help inject that same type of energy and love into this community too, because we deserve it. You know,
Yes,
sometimes you got to advocate for yourself. This is not just us, but we as a community. That's the royal we.
I was gonna say specifically not us, maybe.
But yeah, I mean, if you're considering us, totally. But in the end, like, this community is awesome. I've been a part of I've been the FGC. I've been a part of the Overwatch community and Riot League of Legends when it was just Riot Game, and this one has just been like the easiest to kind of get into. Right? It's not. Sometimes it can feel a little gatekeepery just because of the game, right? But this time around, it's fun. So it's a new style of game. Everyone kind of comes in with the same XP, and once we get spectator mode, we can become a community that much easier, and that's what I'm really, really excited about. But we've got a ton to talk about in terms of patch notes, because there's some major changes.
There are some major changes coming on down to patch 10.3, so let's jump right into them like we always do. Starts off with greetings, friend. Welcome back for Teamfight Tactics patch 10.3 notes. Overall, this is a small patch. We're keeping our theme of from 10.2 by generally buffing things that are weak rather than nerfing things that are strong. Talk about that for a second afterwards. York is getting both buffs and nerfs to different parts of his kit, so be sure to check that out. Last but not least, there's a few gameplay and quality of life changes to the carousel round. Probably the most notable is the removal of the spatulas from the carousel rounds.
I like how they're like small patch, but there are no more
Small patch.
You know, this like thing that defines the very first thing you do in the game, right? Which is crowd around the spatula. Very small changes, but there are no more of those.
Small changes, but carousels are out of the game, and
we're gonna go through a small change. It's now set 3. That's kind of how
we only changed one thing, the set. But
this first thing, Krugs is now guaranteed to have 2 drops instead of 1 minimum, is a pretty big change too.
Yeah, so I don't know what their definition of small is, but I guess we'll go into it. So yes, like you said, Krugs now dropping 2 drops instead of 1 at a minimum. Touching the edge of your ring on the carousel stage no longer ports you back to the middle. That's a big win for me.
Yay!
I hated that so much. Spatulas no longer appear during the carousel stage. Plan accordingly.
Ooh.
They adjusted the drop rates of the content in gold boxes. There's going to be more gold, more spatula, and I think that should be fewer champions. Right,
Yeah.
if you're looking for an
Such
editor
an editor.
for hit me up legendspodcast@gmail.com. And then also a new and unique sound will play when you pick up a champion from the carousel. No more guessing and squinting to find out if you or that pesky mold diver grabbed the volley bear with the recurve bow.
Oh, I like this. I like this change a lot because a lot of the time I think I grab something
Mhm.
and then it goes into the round and I have a different item. And it's the most frustrating thing. I go into my VODs, it looks like I got it,
Mhm.
but I did not. So I actually
get
really
that
like this
APM
small. Yeah, exactly. I need to get a better internet connection. That's what I need. So I really like this change. Even though it's just such a small quality of life, it makes me less salty when I see what I get from the carousel.
Yeah. So now I know that Professor TFT stole the item I wanted. I don't need to guess anymore. I just know that it happened.
I think these are good changes. I gotta say, like the Krugs is the most unsatisfying NPC round in like human existence, in my opinion, right? Because one, if you're gonna lose a round, it's that one.
It's definitely
Two,
that one.
Yeah, you're not. Other than I lost to chickens the other day and then won the game. It's super weird.
Jimmy the Shovel also. I knew he probably thought he was going to live this one down. He also not only lost to chickens, but lost the game on chickens. Like it ended his life on chickens.
But now Krugs are gonna feel a lot more satisfying, like worth your time, and I think that's gonna help push the game pace a little bit, at least in terms of feeling. But yeah, I mean, in terms of these changes as a whole, I actually am not like, I know I reacted differently earlier, but I felt like the getting teleported back was like part of like the carousel meta.
Right? I just hated it.
What? It's part of the
You
meta?
know, it's like the carousel meta, right? Like if you can
mean,
time
No.
exactly how to like come out of the, like, you know how drag racers do it, right?
You just wanted to add more skill to it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And if
like,
you're going to be nerfing the difficulty by giving you sounds when you pick up a champion, you can keep the change
No.
in the middle. We're all just being too soft.
I bring this up all the time when people make that argument where it's like adding complexity and skill testing doesn't make the game better. If every time you had to, like, if you ended up with a 1v1 at the end of a game or at the end of a round and there's 2 units left, and instead of playing it out between those 2 units randomly, you had to literally play a match of chess against them, that would make the game more skill testing and it would make it more challenging and complex. It would not make the game better.
I don't know.
All right,
let's
so you
talk
heard
about
it here
these
first.
items. Ionic spark damage.
Well,
is
hold
going
on.
from
I want the one thing I want to talk about is the big one, is that because this one is the one that I think people has been the most controversial, and one that people have been asking for a while, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, is the spatula is no longer appearing on the carousel. I mean,
a small change.
Yeah. Small
From the
change, Omega
first
lol.
and second carousel, especially, it's super huge. I definitely agree with the first carousel because it sort of allows you to be able to force certain comps that are not supposed to be easily forceable, like Mage Malphite, Mage Annie. As much as I love them, I see a Mage Malphite in almost every game I see, or previously, of course, our favorite Blade Master Azir with Severe and Friends. How that was so wonderful. So now it's more of, if you get a spatula, you have to play to one of your adjustments rather than I'm going to force this by getting a spatula early round. Now, I saw some discussion about this on Reddit, and I think I definitely agree that perhaps in the third carousel, when it's a little bit later, perhaps there can be still. So if you're that low, you have a chance of making a comeback by perhaps doing a new synergy or new unit. But I definitely agree with like the first, maybe the second, but the third, I think it's pushing it personally.
Yeah, so to take the doubt, because I think the majority of what I've been seeing is people are like, oh, finally, get, Void Assassins was toxic.
Yes,
Sivir
oh
and
gosh.
Friends, Blender, all these things were toxic because of the spatula, right? Well, you know what also sucks is at the end of the game, you just have that random spatula with nothing.
Yes.
Or it's like, oh well, I guess I have an Inferno. I have Inferno 1 now with this item, or I finally made Inferno 2, because it's the only thing I can make out of these items. I think I like the idea of first round, first carousel, second carousel, no spatula. I can get out, even though I don't mind the spatulas at all. I can concede that maybe it's better for the game and just the sanity
Yeah,
of
it's a
players.
comeback,
But then
perhaps.
the third one, it's now because I think the problem is not that you're getting a carousel or you're getting a spatula early. It's that the cost of getting it or forcing that you get it, aka inting or losing on purpose so that you are guaranteed to get it, is so low in those first rounds. Like, okay, you lose the first three rounds. Who cares? Like, you've taken what, 12 damage? Okay, great, and you get a spatula, which is definitely worth it. But if you're inting until the third carousel, you might just be dead.
Whoa.
You might be
You're
dead.
gonna be dead before that.
So I think it changes the strategy a little bit. I think that a lot of the, or at least some of the charm of TFT compared to other auto battlers is are those carousel items, or sorry, spatula items, where it's like, yes, Mage Malphite, maybe we do see it a little bit too much, but also it's a really cool thing about TFT is that I can make a Mage Malphite, or I can make a Assassin
Contribute to a
Skarner.
good fantasy is, I think,
Yes.
what the designers would say.
Yes, Mage Zed. Like, I like those things. I've been a proponent of the let there be 100 Zeds on the field. Let there be
Zeds.
Yes, let there be a Malphite that ults 3 times in a row or 2 times in a row. Let that happen. And then adjust the numbers to make it not broken, but be able to break the game but have it not break the competitive meta. I think those are two distinctions that I think that the team understands, but maybe the community doesn't think about it in the same ways. But that's my another $10 bill of 2-cent thoughts on,
Great.
on the spatula. Okay,
wonderful.
Let's talk about items.
Let's go ahead and do items and traits together.
Okay. Do you want to sync it up? Okay, 1, 2, 3.
2,
Ionic Spark
Ionic
damage.
Spark damage.
Oh, you meant go through them together, not me and you both saying them at the same
Okay,
time.
ready?
Okay, I get it.
1, 2, 3.
Not doing it.
Ionic Spark damage going to 200 to 225%. Luden's Echo damage going from 125, 175, 250 to 150, 175 to 25. So a buff at level 1 and a nerf. That's a burf. Static Shiv going from 80 to 85. And Infinity Edge crit damage bonus getting nerfed 125 to 100. So these are the traits. Assassin crit damage bonus 65 to 25 to 70 to 210. Another burf. Lunar ability power bonus per stack 10 to 15. Shadow damage bonus 65 175 to 65 165. Light healing on death is a nerf by 5% from 25 to 20. And light attack speed bonus is going from 1535 to 55 to 2030 to 50. So a slight increase at level 1 and then nerfs at 2 and 3.
Yeah. I think in general these are probably all right. I mean, I think that the team has much more of a finger on the pulse of how good light actually is, and not just me wanting to play it all the time. Shout outs to Bemi, by the way. The Bemi comp. I mean, I just liked playing lights a lot. But regardless, I think overall these buffs are good and the burfs are good. The Luden's Echo is a specific shout out or call out to Tier 3 Kog'Maw. Who has been kind of rampant in a lot of ways. So, adjusting the dials a bit and getting it into a more sort of balanced state based on what they've seen. Wonder, what do you think about these?
I mean, I think I'll have to agree with you. I do like Attack Shiv, slight increase because you pretty much only see it on Ashe and maybe a Twitch. So maybe that will encourage more Ranger players to use it. I personally love going Rangers. Luden's Echo, I also really like using Vigar with Luden's Echo sometimes.
Yes.
So that's always fun. Usually I don't get to the Vigar 3, like certain people on fight night, but
Shout out to
I
H22.
usually, exactly. I am a student of his, of Vigar, but I don't get to that Vigar, so I feel like the slight buff on Luden's Echo and Vigar is going to be really fun for me personally. And I definitely agree with the light slight nerfs in reworks, because if it goes uncontested, which it was in the very beginning of the patch, it was crazy. And then people caught on. And I was like, oh, I can't force it anymore.
Yeah.
But the few games after that I have, that I'm like, wait, this game is feeding me lights? I search over, no one's going to lights. Top 2, let's go. So I'm glad they're realizing it.
The really interesting thing about items and traits, and kind of the reason why I wanted to say them together, is because sometimes what's not written there is kind of what impact you're going to feel the most, right? So when I see something like this and I see Luden's Echo damage getting a level 1 buff, right? And even though it's getting nerfed at rank 3, it's going to make Predators better earlier, right? Because of Kog'Maw, who's also getting a level 1 spell damage buff, puts Luden's there. That all compounds with each other.
Right.
So even though that's not on here, Preds are definitely getting a little bit. If you're able to get Luden's on Kog'Maw, you're going to be executing people more quickly. You're going to be doing more damage. Plus Static Shiv getting buffed.
Yes.
Same thing, right? So even though you're not really seeing, oh, Predators, this getting changed, right? What's not written can definitely be what's being most affected, right? And I think Predators here, of everything that's kind of behind the patch notes, is getting affected in a good way by a lot of this stuff. A lot of buffs going their way.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that's also not written is the fact that light getting slightly worse on paper might actually, in the grand scheme of the meta, make them a better choice, because, like you said, Wonder, if no one else is going light, it's going to be good. Even if it's slightly weaker, if you can get there, it's better.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be interesting to see, because I feel like people generally, if they see a nerf on paper, they're like, oh, that's bad now. I don't need to think about that anymore. I'm not gonna go the same thing that's still bad. I don't need to go it. But I'm like, now I get to play lights. Now all of you plebs aren't going to be picking them. I get to pick them. So shout outs to Bemi, by the way. Okay. Who is the light player from Game Night, and a great producer.
And they're very well known for their light play.
Yes. They're also well known for their great production skills. I don't know why that sounded like it was a joke. That's actually true. Actual shout outs to Bemi. No kappa. All right, let's move on to champion balance. I'll do some 1 and 2 tier 1 and tier 2 champions here. Kog'Maw, like you mentioned, Boop, getting a getting a wait, this is just a buff. This is just getting a full-blown buff. Kog'Maw spell damage.
Predators here.
Going from 125, 275, 425 to 150, 300, 500.
75 damage spell
Preds
damage.
meta.
Gets, affected by Ludens.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
Sounds good to me.
I almost said orange. Ornn spell debuff duration is going from 4 seconds to 10 seconds.
What?
Is spell damage amplification going from 20 to 25%, and Vayne's attack speed going down a whopping 0.05 from 0.75 to 0.7. Braum spell damage prevention is getting a little bit of a buff, going from 70, 80, 90 to 80, 85, 90. Rip you tier 3 Braum players, you're not getting any buffs. Jack's spell damage, ready for battle, is going from 150, 250, 450 to 150, 300, 550. Ready for battle. The block spell damage going from 200, 450, 800 to 225, 475, 800. Rek'Sai's armor going up from 30 to 35, and Yasuo's mana is going from 0, 100 to 0, 85. Boop. Where do we start with these burfs, buffs, and nerfs? What sticks out to you?
well, obviously we talked about Kog'Maw already, so we'll go past that. But the Ornn buffs look like it's gonna be a while, but I would gather that if I were to put a percentage on the people who know what Ornn's ability does, it would be.
Ooh, I know. Or I think I know. Now I'm doubting whether I know.
What is it? Tell the people.
I can tell you kind of what it does. It increases the chance of the unit affected of getting critical hitted. Is that right?
Right. So basically,
to put that in non-dumb terms.
So my point is the fact that you had such a hard time, and we see Ornn ult. I've probably seen Ornn use this ult 8 million times at this point, right? Because Ornn always is in your first pack, no matter what, right?
Yeah,
and
guaranteed.
So Ornn or Leona, you get to pick one or the other. And so I think it's good. I think it's going to be great. He's going to be able to push out more damage. It's going to be a little bit more utility, which I think Wardens need in general. And maybe this helps just electric as well, because they're going to be critting more often. So that means that their electric buff is going to be going more often as well.
One thing I'll say about Ornn is that since I started watching competitive League of Legends this season for LEC and LCS, I didn't know what Ornn did beforehand. Like, I knew nothing about the character. But knowing what his ult in League is, and now going and retroactively thinking about how we could have had that awesome ult and we got this garbage, I'm retroactively mad back when Set 2 came out and we got Ornn. Like, I'm retroactively mad for all this time because we got robbed of an awesome ult potentially and got this like weird, like stupid electric sneeze instead of an awesome ram that could be doing it'd probably be broken, but it would be awesome. Sorry, I had to go off on
I don't think so. The 10 seconds is more of a buff to like electric, right? Because Ornn ults you get to crit more often, and so the electric, so that's going to help the early game for that comp a lot. And then the other thing I think that kind of sticks out is why Jax is getting a 100 damage buff at rank 3.
Ready for battle.
I am going to beat
every time
out of you. I'm going to connect the back of my hand.
Oh, that was the wrong button. Wait, this button. Nope. Oh god, that's the wrong button. Hold on, wait. This is the right button. Nope. I don't know where the right button is.
Anyway, so Jax spell damage, 150, 250, 450 to 150, 300, 550. I think this is in a couple things. If you guys remember, like 4 or 5 patches ago, they were like, we basically know that rank 3 of a lot of these units just don't feel that great.
Yeah.
Right. And they buffed Kindred, and Kindred's still good from that buff.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of that, because Jax is probably one of the most disappointing tier 3 units. And with Lights getting an overall nerf as well, they're giving Jax some utility elsewhere. And 550 damage is nothing to scoff at, especially if you've, for some reason, you've got AP items on him that could definitely hurt, especially since it's AoE.
Ready for battle.
True. But yeah, those are the things. What about you, Wonder? What do you think? These tier 1 and tier 2.
It's sort of minor, but I actually really like the fact that total mana is a little less, because now he could maybe ult a little bit more, because since Blade Master was nerfed 4 ways last patch, and sadly there isn't really anything to really help Blade Masters again. I think it'll probably be a while, as in set 3, before Blade Masters are really valuable again, unless you high roll Severe and Friends, which
I can almost
it sometimes works, but
Blade Masters will not be in set 3. I just have like I'd be willing
an
to
idea
that
because I felt like this is like, oh yeah, so it could ult a little bit more, that's cool, but then I think about how Blade Master were destroyed, that they made it how you do not want to play Blade Master anymore. It's not even worth it with Blade Master Azir sometimes, even if you have the Severe and Desert. So I feel like them including this gives me hope for Blade Masters. The fact that they put Yasuo in this, maybe it's for the cloud, but all I can do is hope. All I can do is hope is that they're playable again.
Well, Boop, they're not going to be Blade Masters in set 3. They're going to be Lightsaber Masters.
Hey, lightsabers. Yeah, I mean, we've gotten 2 sets of Blade Masters, right? I'm cool with like Rangers being and everything because that's such like a standard kind of class. Like Diablo, any MMO, any MOBA, like you're gonna have someone with a bow and arrow.
I want Gunslingers
And
back.
yeah, I do miss gunslingers too.
Yes,
But
yes.
I think Blade Masters
Gunslingers.
contributed to a lot of design philosophies that they were probably unable to commit to in this set because of that. So something that I always like bring back is in Hearthstone. They said the most problematic card they've ever made was Stone Tusk Spore because it was a 1/1 with charge. Like they just couldn't make some other cards because of what it did with Stone Tusk. And I think Blade Masters were kind of the same way. Like with Sivir's mechanic, that's something that's going to put barriers to what you're going to be able to do for that set if you decide to put that in there. And I think Blade Masters really suffered from some of those design aspects in terms of, it's really cool to see people attack fast, right? But it still, for me, wasn't as satisfying as seeing Fiora attack fast versus Nocturne attack fast.
True.
I don't know why.
All right, Boop, take us through the rest of these.
All right, tier 3, Nocturne attack damage getting a little bit of a buff, 55 to 60. Dr. Mundo Health getting a buff as well, 750 to 800. And tier 4, Annie getting some changes. Tibbers' health going to get changed once again. I feel like Tibbers' health has changed, I think, almost every patch.
This like time 3 or 4 times, I think.
Yeah. 2K,
They're still working on it.
Yeah, 2K is now going to be 1,600, 2,200, 3K, so it's going to scale.
Yep.
Annie Tibbers' attack speed is going to get a major buff from
Whopping.
0.6 to 0.65. So that DPS is going to increase. Janus stun duration 1 second to 1.5 seconds. I think you are going to feel that in terms of like, are my units stupid? Right. I think you're going to feel like your team's full of MFs, which I kind of miss, by the way. We should.
I was MF.
The just like big alt that misses everything. Is that what you miss? That you invested 5 gold into?
Yes.
That's part of the fantasy. 10 to 12
Exactly.
for Lucian spell-based shots. Lucian attack damage ratio going from 0.25, 0.3.5 to 0.345. And Olaf spell attack speed bonus 100, 150 to 300 to 100, 150 to 450. So Berserkers get some help.
18 axes getting the buff.
Yep. Yorick gets his own thing. Getting a small, actually bigger than that, health buff, 800 to 850. His starting total mana is moving from 0.75 to 0.85. And his Gil health is going to be 5,800 to 2,000 to 5,700, 2,000. So a nerf to rank 2. I don't think I've ever seen a rank 3 Yorick.
No.
I think I've had one in game night before.
Tier 5,
I won that game, by the way.
Master Yi attack speed going from 1 to 1.1. I gotta tweet more or something, like just be like, what's the decision behind this kind of
1.1
because that's bigger than the 0.05 we've gotten. And
twice as
if you
big.
hear this, when you hear it, if you could tag me, that'd be awesome, because it's something that I've always been super curious about, where these like in regular League of Legends where they add like 3 armor or take away 2 movement speed, what the kind of difference is for these things.
I would like to point out that Mort did do a rundown video on his stream and on YouTube that he probably addressed this in, and by that I mean I know he did. So
okay, cool. Well, I will make sure to have him still tag me, because if I'm being completely honest with you. It's a question I'm sure he gets a lot, so I'm sure he's got a nice answer. And then Lux tier is spell damage is going to be getting nerfed at level 1, going from 600 to 550. And that's all the champs. So what do you want to talk about, my friends?
I want to talk about what Wondermelo wants to talk about. That's what I want to talk about.
Why did Zed get a buff? Why did he need it? He's already insanely good.
I mean, can be good. I've been having the experience of like, ooh, I've got summoners, but I don't have assassins, or I don't have like electric, and I don't have perfect Zed items, and I have a level 1 Zed, and I'm just like, This feels so bad, and also
I know,
Zed
right?
feels
It's kind of like a bait.
so. I mean, this is one of the cool things about the way that mana works in TFT is that
Mhm.
it's a small buff. So all that this mana buff does is increase his very first ult. It will increase
Mhm.
the chance or increase the speed at which he gets his first ult by by 50%. But uh it's not going to like long game, it's not going to have any impact. Like
Mm.
after you get the first ult, it has no change on the game other than the fact that you're getting it a little bit earlier. But it like
Well, and something we talked about before was fantasy, right? And I
yeah.
think Zed was failing on his fantasy of getting a bunch of Zeds out there more so than like a Mumu who's fulfilling it perfectly, you know?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that, and I feel like it's maybe even a little safer to just not stack as many items on him now, because you, at least my thinking was, why would he need this when if you're running inside, you're usually gonna stack all the mana and the health regen items on him anyway, so
Mhm.
maybe he won't need all three items on him now if he's actually gonna get at least one alt off.
Right.
Well, I mean, you think about electric, right? You got your Ornn in there, you got your Volibear, and you got your Lux in there, right?
Yeah,
And
if you're able to get that. I haven't seen
with
electric as much
with
lately.
Ornn having like that 10 seconds, right? I'm just saying,
True.
maybe
Debuff and
Ornn's gonna
stuff.
come back this patch and be the strong. Maybe three people will know what his ult does instead of the two beforehand. But I'm excited to see. I think that kind of all goes. Electric is something that I think some people have forgotten about, just like
Yeah.
straight up.
Mhm.
I
And
have.
so a buff to Zed, a buff to Ord is gonna inherently be buff to Electric since both of them
Yeah.
are already that way. But we'll I always love caveating everything I say, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. I do like, or I did see Mort in one of his last streams, get the full fledged light Lux, or sorry, not light Lux, electric Lux with Zed, and I think it was, or no, it was Volley. No, it
Ooh.
was, okay, I think it was the same game that he exploited a bug on stream with Volibear,
Oh my
which was
gosh.
pretty hilarious to see him do. But there was a bug on PBE where if you put Death Cap on Volibear for
Mhm.
some reason, it would extend the range of his alt to infinite. So he'd
Oh
get
my
his
god.
first alt and he would bite, and then if he killed, which he would because it's dealing so much damage with the death cap, he would bite and then he would target the next closest thing, bite and then bite and then bite and then and like it would be like a machine gun, like crunch 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 crunch, dead, rounds over. Like it was actually hilarious, and he posted a video
Oh
on
my
it. You
goodness.
guys should check that out on
I
Mort's channel,
will.
on Mort Dog's channel. But it is a bug that was on PBE, so it it's not going to be there. So don't try that. Don't try this at home. Um, Last bit of the patch here is just the bug fixes. Multiple Titans Resolve are no longer multiplicative. Inferno should no longer proc spell shields like Trap Claw. Kog'Maw's Living Artillery can no longer hit untargetable units. LeBlanc and Yasuo now properly deal spell
Shut
damage to
up.
champions with Quicksilver. And Karma can now target untargetables with her shield and link, Zephyr and Soulbound. So now your dead Lucian can still get Karma'd.
Nice.
You're frontlining Lucian.
Yes.
Yeah, I think overall, like, I'm happy with where the game's at right now, right? I mean, I've been win streaking, so why not? And these changes outside of like it's cool that they get to move away from these champion changes a little bit more and lean more into mechanical changes, like focusing on carousel, because I've always wondered what the percentage of effort was, right? All right, so we've got our items and macro people, and we've got our champions and micro people.
Mhm.
Where are we really going to start, fiddling with the numbers the most? And I think they've done a really good job with the champions this set. So now they can really focus in on making the grander scheme of things feel even more balanced than what the beginning of this patch was before everyone got kind of on the hate light train.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah, I'm very much welcoming to the more gameplay mechanical changes at the end of the patch. because, as we know, things are winding down. They're going to change soon. So putting in these little experimental things like no original spat on carousel and these different little changes to how light works, such as Yorick, I think is a really smart thing to do, because you're going to go into an O world within set 3, and doing these things at the end is the perfect time to do it.
Yep. I agree. Definitely a good, not like a lame duck type of thing where it's
I
like,
was literally just thinking that, Blev. That's so crazy. Mitch McConnell's face just popped into my mind. And I was like, lame duck.
oh yeah, this is the political segment of Little Legends.
I'm
podcast.
sorry. That's what happened, right? And so, yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
I actually wanted to bring in our guest, actually, Senator Mitch McConnell. Welcome to the show.
I thought that was Franklin.
Hello, Boop and Blevins. I've been okay.
Never mind.
The greatest TFT play. Okay, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. That'll be bonus content for a game night or something. I'll do a political game or something. Something stupid.
Trump playing TFT would be hilarious, no matter who you are.
Ooh. Sub goal, Patreon goal. We'll see. But that's gonna be it for there. Like I mentioned before, we do have a new iTunes review. This one is from Lowering Glenn on Apple Podcasts. They gave a 5-star review titled "Terrific Podcast," saying, "Listening all the way from Sweden, and I'm enjoying the show every week." Huge shout outs to Lowering Glenn. Thank you so much.
Huge shout outs to Sweden, man.
To Sweden.
Just to Sweden.
Great Overwatch World Cup team. Just great country in general. Just a great country.
Good place.
Just all around,
there are people, places, and country there. Yeah.
This is a good country.
Okay.
But yes, thank you so much for that, Lauren Glenn. And guys, again, if you're listening to this on iTunes or Apple Podcast or whatever podcast platform, if you could do us a favor, leave an iTunes review. If you get the chance, it really does help out a ton, and it only costs you time. And we've wasted an hour and a half of your time already. What's another few minutes to go? Leave one. But yes. So I know, and I'm sorry, we've skipped this for the last couple of weeks. Last week we had the only excuse from last week is that I didn't have show notes made at all because we went full experimental. But we've been busy before. We've got a little bit of time. We've got a couple of screenshots of your guys' winning builds from the Discord. Again, discord.me/LittleLegendsPodcast. Make sure you are posting in the Post Your Comp anytime you get a win. It's a great habit to get in because I swear it's going to be more of a habit getting these comps, especially when set 3 comes out, because we'll be wanting to look at what's actually good so we can do it. But we had one here from Relfling, and this is a good old-fashioned 18 axes. I have not seen this actually pulled off yet. Tier 3 Olaf with an RFC, a Hush, and a Guardian Angel, and then obviously the full suite of Berserkers. It's got a set.
I like the Deathblade on Singed.
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Is this also Relfling on the red?
No,
no.
The next one.
Okay.
The next one has
okay.
quite possibly the best name I've ever seen.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to read it, Boop?
Okay. This would be a really great name for a drag queen. Just gonna put that out there.
True.
Twerkules.
Not Twerkules. It's
Twerkules.
Twerkules.
Twerkules. A Q-lash.
Okay, you've now officially had your Q-lash.
Twerky. I get paid to say things on camera. First place, it's going to be your good old Ocean Mountain. Actually, no.
This is
Kiana there.
Yeah, this is what we call. Oh no, this is Ocean map. So yeah, no, it's full blown Ocean. I was thinking.
Wow.
I was thinking it was. Is there mages? Yeah, it's Ocean mages with Brand and I was thinking that there's Inferno here, and of course we call the Inferno Ocean mages the moist mages.
Moist.
Moist.
That word.
It's
No, I can't.
Torcule.
And
People.
that's exactly why it's called that, is because it elicits that response.
Moist mages.
Good.
Wait. Okay, so Twercules.
Torcules. By God, Torcules is the greatest name ever, and we blew it.
I'm sorry.
We're sorry, Torcules. Please forgive us. You are the hero. Twerk is a hero. Next one here is from Beddits, who's got a good old-fashioned poison. Actually, this is not good old-fashioned. Oh, no, I guess it is. This is Rangers.
Yeah, this is the Warden
Rangers.
Poison
Oh,
Ranger.
yes.
Yeah,
Poison Rangers.
we talked about this comp on the last show.
True. Yeah, it's a good one. It is definitely a goodie. And then the last one here is, I think this might actually be our resident pro player submitted this one. This one's from me.
Whoa.
With the Assassin Summoners build, which, I mean, this isn't, so, this is the Kha'Zix carry build that, aka the new Sphinx build. Ever since Blender died, he had to make a new Blender, and that's the Kha'Zix build, which I stole and then built into Summoner Assassins for the first time ever, because I've never been able to make that comp work until this game, and then it all of a sudden clicked. So like the Assassin
2-star Zed's gonna help.
Yeah, I don't know if Sphinx wants us spoiling his comp, but too bad, buddy. It's happening now. It's the Kha'Zix with Bloodthirster. Let's see, what is it? It's Bloodthirster, QSS, and Infinity Edge. That's what it is. That's the ultimate Kha'Zix build.
He's coming for you now. He's going to get you for spilling the secret sauce.
What are you doing? Spilling all my beans, buddy?
Michael F's in the chat.
Can we get some Michael F's in the chat?
I still haven't gotten a shirt yet.
Oh no.
Michael F, you got to hit me up with the required details.
Yes, hit up Boop so you can get your shirt, please, Sphinx, please. But that is going to bring us to the end of the show. Wondermelo, thank you so much for being on the show. Where can people find you? Sell out, shout out, plug, whatever you'd like right now. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today, Blevins and Boop. This was a really, really fun night. If you're enjoying my content or want to find out more about me, I stream on Twitch on twitch.tv/Wondermelo. I'm also on Twitter at the same username, and then Instagram, I go Wondermelo_ because apparently someone took Wondermelo on Instagram, and I just gotta
how much would you be willing to pay for that? Maybe I know that No, I'm kidding. I don't.
$1. I also
sold
on Wondermelo as well as I'm a TikToker because I'm the resident Zoomer. I'm a true Zoomer energy. 1998. Let's go represent y'all. So
you say 1998?
Yes.
Wow, you are.
I am almost 10 years older than you.
You are younger than Pikachu. Just putting that out there.
Yes, I am. Yeah, Pokemon Yellow came out the same year, I believe.
Pokemon Yellow. Oh my goodness, most underrated Pokemon game. But man, I remember being disappointed in Yellow when I first got it, and being able to compare Red and Blue against it. remember all of this.
Yeah.
Anyway, age is just a number.
Yeah,
yes.
and a very, very important thing in everyday life. But that's going to be it. Leaving us on some depressing news. But what's really not depressing is that we're that much closer to next week's show. So thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you follow Wondermelo. We'll have the links to her stuff in the description below if you didn't catch it right there. You can also follow us. Follow the show on Twitter at LILLegendsPod on Twitter. Most important place for you to go, discord.me/LittleLegendsPodcast. That's where the community lives. That's where game night is. That's where all of our links and everything is. That's where all of the cool people hang out. And where it's all happening. So without I don't know. I got nothing else. Boop, where can people find you so we can end this show and put me out of my misery?
Well, at least pretend you like doing it.
I
you
love
can find
doing
me
it, but I'm so sad that it's over that I have to.
at Booposaurus Rex on Twitter. I have contacted Twitch to see if I can get Booposaurus on Twitch instead of having Booposaurus 1 because I'm Booposaurus on Twitch and I just can't remember any of my necessary security questions. So once that gets going, I'll be starting my stream up here soon, hopefully within the next couple weeks.
I think you should be
which is what I said last week.
Boobosaurus
6969, my PTR account, and it's my husband's favorite username.
Ooh. Yeah, but he doesn't know about the gluten-free copy pasta and also about moist mages. He doesn't know anything about that.
But yeah, at Booposaurus Rex, twitter.com, and please hit us up. We love to be involved in the community, and so if you just want to chat, hit us up. My DMs are open.
Yes. Make sure you do that. You can find me on Twitter at @the_Blevins or on the Discord. Just go there. The Discord's the place to be. But that is going to be it. Thank you, everyone, for listening. For Wondermelo, for Boop, I'm Blevins, and we'll see you guys next week. Talk about more TFT. See ya.